Recipes and chemical equations have a lot in common. So let's take a recipe first. They give you a list of ingredients here. They'll tell you, like, look, you need some butter, you need some sugar, flour, sprinkles, and you know that you're making cookies. So if you were to add 1 stick and 2 tablespoons of butter and a third of a cup of sugar and a cup of flour, and mix them all together according to the way they instructed you, you would make some cookies. Usually a recipe will tell you the number of servings that it gives you. This one does not, but generally it will say, like, look, this recipe makes 2 dozen cookies. If we switch over to a chemical equation, we have something similar. Instead of calling them ingredients, we call them reactants. Right? So these are the things we're going to mix together. And then instead of being told a list of ingredients, you're given a coefficient. And the coefficient says that you are going to need to start with 2 waters. Okay, so if you add 2 waters together and then you let some things happen, which is what the arrow means that you are going to let this reaction proceed, then you will wind up with 2 H2s and 1 O2. Where's the 1? Well, it's a math thing, so we're just not going to write it. If it bothers you, you can scribble in a 1 right there to let yourself know. So a couple things. Recipes have beginnings and endings. Reactions have reactants and products. In a recipe, generally you're making one thing. You're making cookies, but you might make a whole bunch of them. In a chemical reaction, you can get different things where you take chemicals, mix them together, and get 2 products. So that would be like saying, look, if you mix some butter and some sugar and some flour, you can get matzah and cookies at the same time. Like in this case, I'm going to take some water molecules, tear them apart, and get hydrogen and oxygen at the same time. So that's different. Generally, recipes don't allow you to make 2 things at the same time, but chemical equations often will. Okay, another thing that you want to be worried about here is these ratios. This tells you that if you start off with 2 waters, you will make 2 hydrogens, but you're only going to make 1 oxygen.